Hey, so today we get to talk about authenticity. And the reason why that's so important is because there's a tendency to talk about being happy like a Walt Disney character or something, and it's BS. We're not talking about that. We're talking about really truly from the inside out bubbling up with a feeling of joy. And it's you can see in some people's eyes, right? A sense of source, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, but just this sense of joy, and that's what we're looking for. But to really ask ourselves a series of questions that get to that place, right? So authenticity, yay, and welcome day 11. So our routine, again, as we know, say it with me, is to write 10 things that you appreciate, right? So by now, holy moly, you've got a huge list. Listen to your favorite song, affirm yourself in the mirror, give yourself that joy boost, reinforce your happy anchor, and do your incantations. Yeah, you're hot, you're sexy, you're smart, you're cool, you're amazing. Yeah, you are. And then make sure to meditate. So use Headspace or create your own. And if you haven't tried it so far, go ahead and get a meditation. You can do it on YouTube or whatever. There's a lot of different opportunities to check into meditations and find something that really resonates for you. We're all going to be different. When you find something really that is like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, I want to share it, go ahead and share it in our Facebook group. That will be the bomb. I'll do the same, okay? So living authentically. I think the first thing we have to do, look how I almost said that, have to. No, remember that lesson? We get to, is to evaluate our roles. We all play roles. Think of us as actors. So we've been children, we get to experiment, have fun, and be curious, and we're also actors. We're also writers. When we're writing our life script, we get to rewrite our life script if we want to. So let's talk about this. What roles do you play on the stage of life? And how do you play each role? For example, the role of the spouse, the role of a parent, the role of a sister, the role of a brother, the role of being a child, the role of being an employee, the role of being an employer, the role of being a friend, the role of being a victim, the role of being, a villain, being mean, whatever. We all have lots and lots of beings or personalities in us, especially until we really do the work, which is to essentially look at ourselves as a child. What thoughts, beliefs, feelings, emotions were going on? How did we react, result? What is our life like? Teenage, 20s, 30s, however old you are, but, really going through it and then considering, wow, I am totally different with my loved one, my partner, my wife, my husband, my spouse, my significant other, than I am with my mom. With my mom, I am a wounded child and I play that, right? Whatever. So it's really just taking it apart. Like, again, you were writing a script. Again, this is your life script. And then you're an actor. So how are you behaving, and how's it working for you? How's it working for you? So that's our first thing that we're going to do. That's our first part of our challenge. Our next thing that we're going to do, as you write down all those different roles, is where do you learn that role? Who taught you to play that part? Who taught it? Like, it could be an ex-lover who thought that love meant, I don't know, meant doing things physically, like I fix the house, I go to the store, I buy the thing. And you thought like, that is so not what I want. That's not the role I want you to play. I want you to be something different. Now, again, we don't get to make decisions for other people on how they're going to be, but it's just looking at yourself, like, how do you behave? That's that. And then, are there any roles that you're playing that don't feel right to you anymore? So first you have to know that you're even playing a role, right? So that's our first part, is one, am I playing a role? Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I'm playing a role with these people. Totally different. I'm not being authentic. I'm pretending. In order to get that raise, I need to pretend that I really care about this job. I mean, whatever. Again, I'm just making stuff up. So what you're doing is you're just getting a sense of, that is too heavy of a mask. And if I'm really being authentic, I get to peel that mask. I get to take that mask off so that all that's left is me, naked as I am, naked and not afraid. and just really resonating with that feeling of like, this is who I am. And then anything that doesn't feel right to you, just acknowledge, wow, this doesn't feel right. And then have a conversation with somebody. If it's a person, um, I've been acting a certain way and I'm realizing that I'm not being truthful, or I'm hiding out, or I'm walking on eggshells, or whatever the conversation is going to be. And I want to change that. I want to change that so that you can get to know me, really me, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? So that's what you're going to do. And what changes, if any, would you need to make regarding how you play each role in order to feel that you're living in alignment with your true self? And again, today, and believe me, this could go on beyond today because it's big, right? It's a huge conversation, but really what we want is for you to be in alignment with your true self, not giving away your power to others, not being so codependent if that's what's showing up for you. Just really being solid in who you are. Doesn't that feel good? Just even thinking about that. So that's what we're going to do. And who would you be if these roles, now that you've determined, yeah, wow, holy moly, I didn't even know that I was playing a role. Now I recognize I am playing a role. It doesn't fit anymore. I don't want to do that. So envision again, like how we've done where we have these timelines. You're in the now. I get that. However, if you're continuing a certain relationship or a certain pattern, what is your life going to be like? Maybe it's good. Maybe it's like unhealthy, not quite what you want. Maybe it's toxic. Maybe it's something gets to change. Maybe you want to go deeper with someone who's been really superficial with you. Maybe, whatever. And then the other is this path of being really true to yourself and shifting away from any of those relationships, people, whatever, and really getting to the truth. And who would you be if you weren't playing those roles? And then you're really going to write and journal, because this can take up a little bit of time to just really, if you're really going to do the work and really come down to who you are. And then as we continue to do the rest of our workshop, should you choose to really go deep into you being your authentic, vulnerable, beautiful, gorgeous self, and just shedding, the old cliche, like an onion, so that all those layers are removed and all that's left is you, beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, amazing, happy, you. Watch what happens in your relationships. At first, it may be tricky. You may have to get rid of some, and that may be okay, especially when you really get to the idea that, wow, I'm not even honest with this person, or I don't feel good around this person, or this is so toxic. I get to shed this, eliminate this. I don't want this anymore. So that's what we're going for today. Very interesting process. You may cry, and that's okay too. You may have just huge ahas. Again, share it in our Facebook group, and everybody in the Facebook group, let's just make sure to be very, very compassionate, create a safe space so that everybody, as they reveal themselves as themselves, feel okay about it. Not only okay, but good, so that they want to share more and more, right? So that's it. Your challenge is to complete that worksheet, or finish the answers to what we just talked about, and reflect on the roles that you play and how you can really live more authentically. So to your authentic self, this is huge. This is so huge. I'm so excited for you. Okay, cool. Bye. Have a good one. You authentic you. Okay, now you've done the work on being authentic, and that will continue. That's not going to just end day one. That's a continued journey. And it's going to feel really good to know what your preferences are, to be able to shift your preferences, to be able to be happy just like that, to shift your thoughts, to stop the bully, to be in meditation, to be in a place of prayer whenever you want to be, like we said before, that walking, like an ecstatic walking, talking bliss temple, to really be complete in all aspects of your life, because you deserve it and you're worthy. And it's time, isn't it? It's really just time. Yeah, totally. Okay, so I get you. I'm with you. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is beliefs. We've talked about beliefs before, and yet it's really interesting now that we've done more work, is to, just contemplate, wow, how is it that I came to believe that? I fought for, I defended it, I got defensive over, I would have, you know, whatever, sold my soul almost over believing in that. Like when we're little, we believed in Santa Claus, right? Or the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy. And we would have told anyone who told us it wasn't true, no, it is. And now I know that you have all sorts of other beliefs, right? And especially because it seems like as a society, we're really polarized. My belief is better than yours. I'm right, you're wrong. Which, by the way, that is a very good belief to look into, is I'm right, you're wrong. I used to really, really buy into that. And I thought that I was really so smart. And so I became arrogant is really what it was. And arrogant and, you know, put others down in a way. If they didn't believe like me, I didn't even want to be friends with them. Whew. My mom, when I reflect back on my mom, she was very much like that. And so maybe that's where I got it. Maybe I got it for myself. Again, when I do my self-inquiry, when I do my work, I can believe whatever the heck I want, and I can get rid of those beliefs that no longer serve me because I don't want to fight for my limitations. And I don't want you to fight for your limitations, which is what our beliefs have a tendency to do, right? So again, we're going to go through our routine, say it with me so that we get used to it, so that it just becomes automatic. That's the whole point. Write 10 things you appreciate. Add it to your journal. At this point, you've got 120 plus things that you are really appreciative of. Don't repeat, because God, there's so much to be grateful for, right? Listen to your favorite song. Add it to your playlist. Maybe many songs, you know, maybe listen to it throughout the day. Affirm yourself in the mirror. You know what? You are awesome. You are incredible. You are worthy. You are lovable. You are loving. I'm so thankful that you actually are in my life and that you are making a dream come true for me, which is this idea of bringing happiness to as many as I can through a variety of practices, which is what we're doing, right? So make sure to give yourself that joy boost, because that is so much fun. Don't go over that. Reinforce your happy anchor. Maybe you've really anchored in one thing and you're ready to move on to something else that has really been holding you back. And as you explore your beliefs, again, you're going to be able to anchor in new beliefs based on who you are, where you are, you being more authentic right here, right now. And then make sure to do your incantations and do it in the present tense. You already have those things that you are believing that you want. You're just really experiencing it in the present, because again, the brain, the mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. Therefore, the more you can hone in as though it's already happened, subconscious starts looking for those experiences, bringing it to you even faster. It's like going to getting a meal and it's really slow because you weren't quite sure what you wanted, right? So the waitress had to come back several times, or the waiter, and then they finally came back, and then you decided, and then you were like, oh, I got doubts, I don't know, maybe. And then you're thinking like, hey, maybe I want that. I just don't know. Like, that's not going to come to you. It's that definitive, confident, yes, oh my gosh, excited. The menu happens, you know for sure that you're going to get that meal, or that want, that desire, that will come true for you as you continue with your incantations as though it's happened. Listen to your meditation, go for it, make sure to, and see if you can do it a little bit longer. Even that in, out, just feel it, feels so good. Your challenge, by the way, is to write in your journal about your belief blueprints. And are you ready to change? Again, you can have excuses, you can have the life of your dreams, you can't have both. So we have blueprints that run us. We have a variety of ways of being in the world, and we get something out of all our beliefs. We may not have to risk as much. We may not have to show up as good as we are. We may, whatever. I'm going into the negative beliefs. You can also go into the really good beliefs. But really what you're doing is you're dissecting it, if you will, figuring out where did that come from? Is that really true? Does that hold me in the expanse and the magnificence of me? Or is it holding me small? If it's holding me small. Am I ready to change? Yes, I am. Let me figure out where I've been and what it took to get there, your blueprint, right? Your step by step. And then where will you go with who you want to show up as? What blueprint are you willing to create? And then create that blueprint, just like we're doing. We are kind of doing that right now, actually. Not kind of, we are, by creating that routine. This is a happiness blueprint, essentially. Are there others? Of course there are. This is one that I feel works really, really well. and we'll expand, which is cool. As a group, as we get more blueprints for happiness, let's share it with the world, right? We're here to tingle the world. Okay, so there you go. You are writing in your journal about your belief blueprints, the ones that don't work for you anymore and the ones that you are ascending toward. Okay, cool. I really appreciate it. I love your change. I love your acceptance. I love your curiosity. I love you. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Okay, day 13. Wow, it's going fast, right? Beliefs, the belief blueprint. I'm really excited to see what you came up with. And today we're going to talk about forgiveness. This is a huge conversation, forgiveness. Okay, but before we do anything, what are we going to do? Yeah, we're doing our happiness routine, of course, duh. Say it aloud with me, and that way it gets really into your beingness, into your soul, into your core, into everything that you are, so that we're going to expand that. We might have started out with one little tiny thing, like 10 things you appreciate, and you really had to think about it. Now it's just coming out easily, right? And you're saying it out loud. You're looking at your gratitude journal as you wake up in the morning, you're saying it out loud. You're doing the same thing at night. So now gratitude comes to you in appreciation. And I'm sure that your life is changing. The people around you are more grateful for you than they were before, which is really good. You're listening to your favorite song, adding it to your toolkit, your blueprint for happiness. You're affirming yourself in the mirror. You're giving yourself that joy, yay, hooray boost. You're reinforcing your happy anchor. You're doing your incantations. You're listening to your meditation. Maybe you've expanded and you're like, wow, holy moly, monkey mind is going away. Like I have control over my emotions, my thoughts, my beliefs. And it feels good because I'm consciously creating something different for me that's expansive, that fills my soul, my destiny, my reason for being. Very different, right? Than maybe how you were just a few days ago. So again, forgiveness. Let's break down the prison and let the inmate, being you, free, because it's one of the best things you can truly do for yourself to create happiness, true happiness in your life. And you may say, oh, well, I'm not holding anyone in prison, but in reality, you create the prison. We all do. It's not just you. All you're not special. All of, well, you are special, but not special because of that. We all create a prison around us. We all like shrink down. And the inmate you're trying to set free, like I said, is yourself. And the prison is created, again, by our thoughts, our feelings, our belief systems, etc., unchecked. In fact, many times unforgiveness is the biggest piece of baggage, toxicity that you can carry. And your baggage, again, like we've always talked about, could come from a parent, a friend, a significant other, a co-worker, yourself, your own ego, your little sense of self, your inner child, anyone that was not truly there for you, or maybe abused you, or took advantage of your trust, or harmed you emotionally. And that, again, could be you. Because isn't it true, our thoughts unchecked before this class, 60,000 of them, maybe had a tendency to abuse you, to make you feel bad, to, yeah, you're not enough, and you could never do that, and you should, yeah. And so, again, we're saying bye-bye, mean inner ego or Eeyore. So often, truly, we hold resentments, thinking we're somehow getting the other person back. I'm going to be resentful and I'm going to have regrets because I'm going to get you back. You were the one that did that for me. I am a victim. I'm an entitled victim. Whew. But, they're not affected by your refusal to forgive. You are. So I've heard this before. I like it. I mean, it's very important to pay attention to. Resentment is like taking poison and expecting someone else to die. Listen to that again. That's like even worth putting in your journal. Resentment is like taking poison and expecting someone else to die. That doesn't work, does it? No, it doesn't. And yet we're poisoning ourselves over and over and over again until we're not. So what is forgiveness? Well, forgiveness is releasing the feeling that another person owes us something and freeing ourselves from any kind of anger, regret, resentment that we might have. And you may believe that forgiveness is is totally challenging. And I get that because I felt that way too. I had a really hard time forgiving a few people that I felt did me wrong, really badly did me wrong, or family members. And then when I did the work that we're doing here, all the stuff that we've been doing, and I understood that it really wasn't necessarily them. It was me, my feelings around it. Because when I talked with them, they didn't even know what I was talking about. And here I was holding something, some sort of burden from 20 years ago. And they're like, wow, I am so sorry. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I haven't even thought, I didn't even realize it. As a matter of fact, I don't even remember. But here you are, you're holding this burden. You're walking, with a huge chain. And the truth is that it's forgiving. So it's you truly forgiving you truly forgiving someone else. And when you practice forgiveness, you will feel more empowered. Your relationships will shift. You will shift in yourself because forgiveness is freedom. Yeah, forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is your freedom. It's your get out of jail free card, right? And let's talk about what forgiveness is not, because a lot of people don't want to forgive because they are misinterpreting forgiveness. Okay, so here's really what it's not. Forgiveness is not reconciliation with the person if you're not wanting that and they're not wanting that. Forgiveness is not living in denial about a person's actions. Forgiveness is not allowing the person to do the same behavior over and over again. So if you're in an abusive, toxic relationship, you're not going to allow that person to ever, 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 you hearing me, ever hurt you again. If you have been beating yourself up, you get to never, ever do that again. Okay? So forgiveness is not having no consequence for a behavior. There are consequences for our behaviors, of course. Forgiveness is not having the pain magically go away. Like, I forgive you. Woo! Am I free? It doesn't always work that way. Okay? So let's go through what I think is the most important thing, is to forgive yourself. Many times in our lives, we make mistakes and we get to forgive ourselves for those mistakes. And most people have like more resentment towards themselves than anyone else. And there might be a feeling of shame or guilt or denial or, anger, whatever. And there's two things that our minds unconsciously do when we feel guilty. One of them, so number one, is to repay or make right our mistake, and often excessively, okay? And if we feel that there's nothing we can do to make something right, then the second option that we typically choose unconsciously is to punish ourselves, okay? We punish ourselves. Come on, that goes back to childhood. That goes back to a church or a synagogue, a mosque, etc. Punish yourself. You are a sinner, born with sin. I don't believe that myself personally. I forgive myself for any kind of feeling of sin or punishing myself because just it's a big fat no. No. Cannot do that anymore. So you're going to take a moment and reflect on your actions towards yourself and others in the past, quote unquote. Remember, I know we're in the present. However, we're going to go into memory land and things that we may regret. Maybe we said something to someone. Maybe we did something mean. Maybe we were a bully. Maybe we stole from someone. Maybe we lied. I don't know what it is for you. I'm just asking you to think about those things. And are there any mistakes you made that you continue to beat yourself up over? And if so, what is that? So again, most of us still have junk, toxicity that we're holding on to, we're carrying around with us. And, again, we all make mistakes. We've all made mistakes. And some of those mistakes have been pretty hurtful to others or to yourself. And I get that. We beat ourselves up over and over and over and over. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? And so this is an opportunity for you to have permission, just permission to let it go. Let it go. You don't need it anymore. It doesn't serve you anymore. Again, when we talk about those two timelines, how is it going to feel if you are constantly in resentment, anger, regret, feeling like you have mistakes, you're beating yourself up versus I let it go. I surrender. I trust that it's okay. I talk with the person that maybe I might have hurt and just let them know, you know what? I'm really sorry. I forgive myself for doing stuff that I did the best I could at that particular moment, or I acted, reacted, or I lashed out, and I'm sorry. Okay. And then ask yourself, how am I punishing myself for whatever that thing is? How am I punishing myself? And really, again, you're writing in your journal, how am I punishing myself? Because won't it be freeing to not punish yourself anymore, to reward yourself, to celebrate, to accept, to move on? And are you directly or indirectly punishing others for whatever it is that you are feeling resentful or upset about or angry about? Most likely the answer is yes, right? So they don't want to be punished anymore, and they don't deserve to be punished anymore. That's your stuff. That's your junk. That's your crap. So you deal with your own crap and forgive yourself, forgive others, and let it go. Because your guilt is not going to undo anything that's happened to you. Your guilt, your shame, your judgment, it's not going to help. So let it go. Whew! And consider expressing an apology, through talking with someone, meeting with them, email, text, phone call, letter, the old-fashioned letter. And then here's the key to that. Okay. Because if I were to hear myself say that, I would be like, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, I'm not doing it until they blah, blah, blah. So, or what if I'm vulnerable and I say all that and then they still don't forgive me? I couldn't live with myself with that. Okay. So what you get to do is, don't get attached to the results. They may not be ready to hear what you're about to share, or they may not care, or they may be over it. So yours is not to force them to do something. It's just that you're letting go of pain because it's caused you so much pain in your life. And you're letting it go, and you're releasing yourself from the burden of caring for it and carrying it around, loving that pain. Obviously you were getting something out of it. Now you're done. It's done. You don't want it. So you are simply apologizing to someone so they have an opportunity to have a catharsis, a closing, like, oh my God, thank you. Tears as you are sharing what you've learned since then, so that you're not behaving the way that you behaved then. Right? Whew, that is awesome. So again, you're forgiving yourself. And you are, if any of your self-grievances are towards others, and you've written that, don't expect to be forgiven. It's a tough one. I want to sit with you with that. I want to hold you around that, because that's a tough one. And I really get that. Don't expect them to forgive. Don't expect them to love you the way that they have loved you in the past if they're still dealing with hurts. You're just creating an opening for that conversation, and you're letting yourself go, surrendering to that was, and now I am present with what is. Okay? Love what is. Everything else is suffering. Remember we talked about that? That's Byron Katie. I love Byron. Love what is, because everything else is suffering. So let go of the suffering, because it's not doing you any good. It's heavy. It's depressing. No one wants to be around it. It's misery. It's miserable. Now we're in a happiness class, so we're creating all these different tools to let go of that. Okay. Step 2 is to forgive yourself. I told you this was a big chapter, if you will, a big day. And again, it will most likely take more than one day to come and really do the deep work, the deep cleanse, because this is a cleanse. So step 2 is forgiving others. Now you've forgiven yourself. You at least are aware, that you were kind of an asshole to somebody in the past, or you were mean, or caused them to not feel self-esteem, or your kids are now going through therapy, or whatever, right? And so now I get to forgive others. So you write it down and you make a list of all the people that you need to forgive and what you need to forgive them for, including what you need to forgive yourself for. Okay. And then once you have that long list, and I'm going to assume it's probably a long list if you really are choosing to be honest. Okay. It's a long list. You're not blaming or judging yourself like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of people that I've, been mean to, or, screwed or lied to, or whatever. It's just you making a list to make amends. And then you're reflecting, you're just acknowledging the pain that the lack of forgiveness has caused you and how it currently impacts your life. And is it more painful than the actual experience? Because truly, when you do this work, when you go through the thing that you are, the story that you're telling yourself, that's causing the pain, by you having it your whole life, that is more painful than just letting it go. So you learn the lessons. And what are some of the things, this is something to think about, what are some of the things that you can learn from the situations? So there's always something to learn. There's always something to like. There's always something to let go of. There's always more surrendering. And are there any positives that have or could come out of the experiences? I mean, what lessons have you or the other person learned? Maybe you've learned right now to be more loving. Maybe you've learned that you can let things go. Maybe you've learned that, love is all there is. Maybe you've learned that when you suffer, because you're not acknowledging what is, that's just suffering. Maybe you're ready to let it go. And that is the next thing, is to really let go, to release any expectation from anyone else. And that includes expectations of forgiveness or apologies from them, or changes in other behaviors, or changes, that you don't expect or you wish would happen. It may not. So forgiving doesn't mean accepting unacceptable behavior. Remember, we talked about that. But if the person does not change, it's your responsibility to free yourself from the pain of resentment, the freedom to let yourself go from the pain of physical abuse, emotional abuse, and do what's right for you. Even if it means cutting ties with a person. That's a big one, isn't it? Even if it means cutting ties from the person because they're poison, they're toxic. We're in a happiness class. We're creating a lifestyle, lifelong lifestyle for ourselves that does not include hanging out, spending time with people that don't deserve you anymore, because you're worthy, deserving, loving. So what expectations do you release? I smile because it's such a good feeling to surrender and release. So now we've let it go, and now we're expressing forgiveness. Only if you feel it would be beneficial to you. Only if it's beneficial to you. So you consider expressing forgiveness to another, again, through a letter, email, phone call, in person, whatever. And again, I'm going to say this because it's that important. Don't be attached to the result, since this is about you. It's not about them. You don't expect an apology. You are okay whether they give you one or not. If they do, woohoo! I mean, that's yummy. And they may not. They may not be ready to right now, and they may in the future, because you've created an opening that wasn't there before, right? So for instance, I didn't talk to my dad, God, for like 20 years. Made up stories about who he was, and I did not like him. And I didn't like the way he treated me. And yet, when we came together all those years later, and he showed me a journal that he kept when I was really little about what kind of dad he wanted to be, even with a lock of my hair. I mean, tell me that's not precious. And he said, I'm so sorry. And it took him a while, because at first he thought it was all me, that I was the bad one and this and that. And it was uncomfortable. It was really an uncomfortable get together to be with him. And then I realized as I forgave myself, and I forgave him, because he was truly doing the best that he could at that time. He was hurt by my mom, so he left. And that was his story. He didn't have to be hurt. If he did the work that we're talking about now, that would not be a story. Because even at my wedding, 30 something years later, that they had seen each other, he still was giving her the finger behind her back. I'm not kidding. He's like a baby. And he like whispered in my ear, "She looks fat." It's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? So again, we're expressing forgiveness, not expecting an apology, and releasing. And now I'm really happy to tell you that I have a great relationship with my dad. My mom has since passed, and she comes in spirit form. And I speak with her, and she is the best mom. Like, I ask for advice, and I can hear her when I'm really quiet. It's beautiful, beautiful. So the idea is that you want to live and be free. Be free. Forgiveness is about your personal power. So forgiveness is your personal power. A life well lived is truly, if you really want revenge, that's the best revenge, because you've taken your power back. And you're focusing on what you want, what you desire, how you want to be loved, because you are lovable, you are deserving, you are worthy, as you are right now. You don't need other people to tell you that at this point in our workshop, right? And don't do it. Don't do it, because you'll show them. I'm going to show you. Ah, man, that's just old news. Do it because you want to live your life with freedom and happiness. That's what you want. That's what you get. That's what you deserve. Forgiveness is often an opportunity to learn, to grow, to heal. That's what I'm asking for you. You may even find that the negative experiences were really a blessing in disguise. And if you can create a place of forgiveness and acceptance in your heart, that's what you're going for. Acceptance in your heart. And remember that forgiveness is 100% your responsibility. Let me say that again, because that's a big one. And sometimes you're going to want to be like, no, I don't want to take the responsibility, but it's 100% your responsibility, not someone else's. It's not. So only you can unlock the door to your prison, like we talked about, and shift your life from limitation and anger and resentment and being small and angry at somebody and holding that all your life to just surrendering and accepting the freedom and the joy that will bring you. So here's to you and your gorgeous, stunning, incredible forgiveness. Enjoy today. It's huge. It's a life changer. And then again, connect in our Facebook groups, talk to people, talk to other people too. And then go for it. Don't wait to forgive. Go for it. Just go for it. Start with yourself. Okay. And then remember to accept your forgiveness, accept your apology. Okay. I love you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.